Hey girls, today I'm going to give you my top 2 tips for getting back on track after the holidays. Now I just realized my last live and YouTube video were about how to stay on track during the holidays, but I get it, life gets in the way and sometimes you can find it really tricky to stay on track when your normal routines and habits are being disrupted by the holidays and there's all sorts of delicious food on hand and tempting you. If life didn't go as planned the last couple of weeks over Easter, and in Australia it's been school holidays and Anzac Day, so we've had a pretty decent chunk of holidays these last few weeks. If life didn't go as planned and now you feel like you're a little bit off track and you feel like you need to get back to those healthy habits, hopefully these 2 tips today will help. Last night I had a coaching call with my clients in my group coaching program for perimenopausal women called the Goddess Project. And one of my clients in there had said she felt like she'd fallen off the wagon, needed some help getting back on track. All of the delicious chocolate and treats over Easter the temptation had been too great, and that's life, that's normal. And she's had some amazing results over the past 10 weeks. She's lost 3 or 4 kilos, her sleep is better, her energy is better, she's had less pain, and she didn't want to feel like she was undoing the hard work she'd put in over those 10 weeks and just wanted a bit of help getting back on track. And as I said to her last night, you are definitely not the only one who'd be feeling this way, so I thought it might be timely to do a video on this for anyone else who's feeling like you just need a little bit of help getting back on track after a couple of weeks of holidays. So I want to keep it short and sweet today. I'm going to give you my top 2 tips. And actually, these are the only tips you really need if you feel like you've fallen off the wagon or fallen off track over the holidays, or really any time in your life when there's a bit of a break in routine or habits. Say if you get injured and your normal exercise or training regime gets thrown off track, if you go on holidays and those normal routines are off track, if we have celebrations like Easter and Christmas where, those routines are out of whack, then this can be helpful for all of those times in your life. So I've got 2 tips. One is a mindset tip really, and the second is a practical strategy. So hopefully between the 2 of them, by the end of this video, in about 10 minutes time, you'll feel like you've got a plan, a strategy to get back to where you were previously. So tip number 1, and this is really the most important part of this whole process, is I really would love you to change your narrative around the idea of being on track or off track, or on the wagon or off the wagon. And I know this is a really common way that we can speak about the process towards getting to our goals, that if we're not being perfect, we're off track, or we've fallen off the wagon. Like we've had a few days where we miss our training or we eat a little bit differently and a few of those delicious foods creep in, then sometimes it can feel like we are off track or that we've fallen off the wagon. But this is really just a continuation of this all or nothing mindset that I've talked about before, that's really not helpful to helping you get towards your goals. When you tell yourself you're off track, your actions and your habits are going to reflect that. There's this, I'm sure you're all familiar with it, I think it's Gandhi, it may be misquoting them here, but the quote is, your beliefs become your thoughts become your words become your actions, and your actions become your habits. So if you're telling yourself you have fallen off the wagon, then of course your actions and your habits are going to reflect that, because in your mind you've fallen off the wagon. So you may as well just continue to act as though you've fallen off the wagon. So you're behaving in a way that reflects that, which is really then compounding and reinforcing that belief that you have fallen off the wagon. So if we can change that narrative, then that is going to be a very helpful process to actually continue to make progress towards your goals and never feel like you are on or off track. I wanted to use a quick metaphor for you for a moment. If we think about the road to our goals as an actual physical road trip, just say I wanted to drive I'm in Sydney, so just say I wanted to drive to the Gold Coast. It's a decent trip. It's about 9 hours, give or take. If I were to drive along the quickest route, that is, if I were to drive along the motorways the whole way at the maximum speed limit, I'd get, with no stops, no breaks, no toilet breaks, no food breaks, I'd get to the Gold Coast in about 9 hours, there or thereabouts. If I were to go along the scenic route, it would take a couple of hours longer. Obviously, if I were to stop for food and rest breaks, which hopefully I would, then it's going to take longer than 9 hours. But in the end, I would still get to where I wanted to be. Even if I took a few wrong turns or stopped off along the way or got lost a few times or had a flat tire and had to call the NRMA to fix it, I would still get there. I would still be on the road or on track to getting to my end goal. It'd just take me longer, but that's okay. In this scenario, there's no deadline. There's no deadline. I just want to get there at some point. And hopefully for most of you with your goals, most of the time, there is no deadline. And if there is some artificial deadline, like a deadline such as I want to lose 5 kilos by my birthday or my friend's wedding, those are really artificial deadlines. We don't have to get to that goal by that end date for the vast majority of the time. But if we're on the track, if we're on track, on the right road to getting there, then, we are on track. What most people do is the second they take a wrong turn when it comes to their goals, or the second they get one flat tire or don't know where they're going, instead of figuring out where they went wrong or stopping to work out where they need to go instead or rerouting, they turn the car around, they go back home, they get annoyed at themselves for going the wrong way, then they wait a few days or a few weeks, and then they start the journey all over again from their starting point. This is what you're doing with your goals. If every time you go off track, you let all of those good habits go and then start back at the beginning again. This is what we definitely want to get out of the habit of doing, because of course it's going to take you a heck of a lot longer if you continually stop and start. If you're on track or off track and there's never any grey area in between. Instead of being on or off track, can't you just be having a rest, taking a moment, taking the scenic route? What does it matter as long as you get there in the end? So remember, your beliefs and your thoughts, your words to yourself, they really matter. If we can take the I'm on track, I'm off track, I'm on the wagon, I'm off the wagon out of your vocabulary altogether, just wait and see. You will almost certainly get to your goals sooner and more effortlessly and less painfully than if you continue to believe you're on or off track. Second tip is a more practical one. The second tip is a practical one. And probably not going to love this, but what I want you to do if you feel like you're off track or you've paused or had a bit of a hiccup on the road to your goals, what I want you to do is to start small. Start with one thing, not 12, right? So I'm talking to all of you perfectionists out there. You don't get back on track by doing everything perfectly on day one. You start with one thing that's going to move you closer to your goal, and you can either decide whether that's going to be the thing that's going to be most impactful to moving towards your goal, or the thing that's going to be easiest to implement initially, because we want to get those early wins on the board to build confidence so that you can add to it. Of course, we want to add those habits and routines back into your life, but one at a time, not 12 at a time. And then you try to do everything all at once perfectly. And of course, you're going to fall on your face and then you're going to feel like a failure. You're not, you're just taking on too much. Trying to do everything at once is a surefire way to fall over, aka turn the car around and go back home and start all over again. So start with one thing. Get good at that, do that consistently for a little while, and then we can add another and another. Again, it doesn't matter if it takes a little bit longer that way. In the long run, that's going to be a more efficient way to get to your goal than trying to do everything all at once and then failing at all of them. So I really hope that helps if you're feeling like you are off track. But remember, you're not off track. You're just taking the scenic route potentially, or taking a little rest break. But if you had felt that way up until this point, hopefully that helps you to get back on the road to your goals, to where you want to be. And if you want more personalized support and accountability along the way to your goals and a strategy that actually works, I do have a group coaching program for women in perimenopause and menopause who want to lose the hormonal weight, who want to lose 3 to 5 kilos in 10 weeks. And the clients that I've had going through this are having fantastic success with this program and learning how to keep that weight off for the rest of their lives. It's called the Goddess Project. So if you want more information, comment Goddess below or just send me a DM and I can send you details then. All right. Thanks, girls. Hope that helps. Bye.